Okay, hi. And now we're going to talk about the fourth level of business, which is the promote level of business. The characteristics of this level are different than what you have probably experienced at the first three levels of business. One of the main characteristics of this level is that it's hard to rest. Sometimes you're coming out of level 3 just going 90 miles an hour, and you've been so used to implementing these disciplines of consistency in business that now it's time for you to learn to stop and focus on your personal life. This can be hard at this phase of business because you have an audience that's used to connecting with you and used to seeing you all the time, and you may be starting to develop some quiet time. Maybe you spend weekends off social media, or maybe you are developing disciplines where you kind of get off of social media and you actually go work on the business instead of being a face online quite as much. Your revenue at level 4 has probably increased significantly. You're going to operate from the mid, from under $100,000 to probably well into $250,000. And I'm going to talk about some different ways that happens at level 4 here in a little bit. The number of employees you have it's going to be between 2 and 5 probably. For me, that's a lot of independent contractors. And if you're building a business online, that might be for you as well. You might also have, if you have a local business or a brick and mortar business, you might have some people that are actually employees because they are coming to a shop or coming to your office to work every day. Your struggle at this level is resources, and I don't necessarily mean financial resources. I mean finding the right people who are going to be the right addition to the culture of the company and the business that you're trying to build and create. So what level 4 looks like is consistency. You have the content wheel in motion, and you are consistently producing valuable content that's connecting with an audience. You definitely have a social media presence at this level that has come from practicing a lot of the things that we've talked about in some of these earlier videos. And you have your email marketing system in place. In level 3, you've probably gone from MailChimp and you've probably jumped up to a more robust email platform. If you're going to make a platform change, it's probably going to happen someplace between level 3 and level 4. So you might be using something like Infusionsoft or Ontraport, and you might be starting to learn how to navigate that if you're in level 4. Problems that you're going to experience in level 4 are people and training. Anytime you bring somebody on board, you're going to have to train them again, and that's going to cost you time, energy, and maybe even money to do that. You may experience a temporary loss of vision. Sometimes this happens to us creatives just because we start to chase other ideas. Things can start to feel very level in level 3, and things can kind of start to plateau. And because of that, we often get distracted and we think we need to pursue another channel of business instead of just focusing on making our current channel of business better and stronger. A lot of times there is confusion of goals. You're not sure which end result that you're chasing. You may not have communicated that clearly to your team, and so that might be a challenge that people on your team experience as well, not knowing what they're supposed to do next simply because the vision hasn't been communicated clearly. 2 more things that need to happen at this level is you need to go back and you need to check your infrastructure. So if you've started out on a Wix website, it might be time for an upgrade. Maybe you started out on WordPress and maybe you use the WooCommerce plugin for your e-commerce for a while. Might be time to upgrade to Shopify or maybe even a different platform at this point. Another thing that can happen at this point is if things have gone really easily in level 3 for you, you might have forgotten about profitability. And so you have a business that's doing a lot in gross revenue or a lot on the top line, but the expenses are so big that there's not much profitability, and you've forgotten to focus on that as a business owner. So here's a list of things that you can work on if you're in level 4. First of all, on your foundation, make sure that your business is reflecting your values and principles and your powers and strengths. Clearly stating what those are is always going to make sure that you attract people and teammates and employees that are in alignment with your values and your strengths. Your team is a very important part of your level 4 because your team is what's going to free you up to focus on the lifestyle that we talked about you wanting to create in the first module. So making sure that your team is communicating with the style and the voice that you've established for your business is very important. In terms of framework, I would recommend reading The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. It's a great book that's going to teach you a lot about stepping away from your business. So if you've put the systems in place that we've talked about in this e-course, and some of the systems that maybe Michael Gerber talks about in his book, The E-Myth, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss is going to help you figure out different ways you can step away from your business and actually get to living instead of just working in and on your business all the time. Now, in terms of the systems in your business with your customer, you're going to want to continue to engage with them. And I would highly recommend, if you have the revenue at level 4, to go where they're going. And if there's not any type of live in-person event for your niche or for your industry, think about creating that. Think about creating a place where your tribe can come meet with you and engage with you face to face. That's an invaluable thing you can do. And so now that you've got some money to spend, I would highly recommend looking at doing that in this space at level 4. In terms of your website, I would delegate some things if I were you, and try to find some time to take a course, an online course in search engine optimization. This is sort of an advanced website technique. You don't necessarily need to know SEO to get started, but if you're at level 4 and you have the time to learn a little bit more, this is something that you might want to look into. You could take classes at lynda.com or find a great online course about SEO to help you grow in the knowledge of your website. For your email system, if you haven't done so already, creating an email opt-in would be great. You've been collecting email addresses, you've been providing free content online. Now it's time to ask for someone's email address. And this is if you have not done it yet. Remember to ask them to sign up for your email newsletter. Another thing that you might want to invest in at this point is email marketing templates. So this could be something that you could hire an expert to create for you to help make your email system look a little bit more professional. On your content system, I would just love to see you continue to write and create content that educates and connects with your audience. And the same thing for your social media. Make sure that you're providing value. That value is always going to help connect with your audience. So make sure that you're just continuing to operate consistently in those two spaces. On your funnel, here are some interesting money-making things that you might not have considered so far. I don't necessarily use all of these in my business, but these are definitely revenue-producing activities that many people do in the online space, and it provides additional sources of revenue for their businesses. The first one is consider selling advertising on your blog. You don't have to have a highly trafficked blog to be able to provide a lot of value to a potential advertiser. So think about doing that. Another thing you could consider is signing up as an affiliate for different products or services that you believe in. I would never recommend just selling something simply to make a cut of the sale, but if there is a product or service that you think is going to resonate with your audience, consider signing up and using that as an affiliate source of revenue for your business. Another thing that you could do if you haven't done so yet is offer a mid-range price product or service or offering. So move on up that funnel and create another offering that's maybe a little bit more expensive or provides more value for your customers or your audience than you have in the past. And then the fourth thing you might think about doing is starting some kind of e-commerce shop. So this might not be, if you actually are a brick and mortar store, you may not have done that yet. Or if you're an Etsy shop, obviously you've done that since the very beginning. But thinking about what you could sell either digitally or physically, if you haven't done so yet, might be something that you want to think about doing at this point. On the administrative side of things, I have 2 worksheets that are going to be super, super helpful for you at this point. The first one I call my Dollar Days worksheet. I use the first Monday of every month to walk through this process, and I'm sharing that worksheet with you here. And then the second worksheet that I use is a one-page financial planner. This planner is great for any stage of business and is going to help you keep in clear focus what you need to do on a yearly basis, monthly basis, and quarterly basis to make sure your bills get paid and your finances are in good working order as a business. Now, in terms of branding, one thing that I'd like to see you guys do at level 4 is go through the brand audit and make sure to strengthen your weak spots in your business. Go walk through your customer experience and grade every item, grade every point in your business and see what you can strengthen. And finally, the last question we get on level 4 is the how long question. A lot of times people want to know how long it's going to take to get to level 4. And on some of that, I just think that you need to start acting like you're at level 4. So if you're watching this video and you feel like you're stuck at level 3, the thing that might get you to level 4 would be hiring a few professionals that are going to know more than you do, that are going to help you take your systems to the next level. The last thing I would say to anybody at level 4 is consider selling your company. I realize that might be a paradigm shift for a lot of people. And if you've read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, he does talk about creating a business that is turnkey so that you could sell it and just hand the keys to somebody at that point. Now, that's not a mindset that we hear discussed very often in the creative entrepreneurship world. But one thing that a very wise advisor once told me is that you never get poor selling early. That's from my friend Sean Lowe. And basically what he means is your company is probably always going to be worth more to someone outside who doesn't have to set up those systems and processes than it is going to be to you to continue to run it. So cash on hand is always super important. And if you have the opportunity, if someone ever approaches you to sell the company, I can tell you from experience, it's probably going to be a good idea to at least pursue those conversations. Get some good financial advisors to help you, get some good legal advice to help you, but engage in those conversations. It's also amazing how much you learn at those points about business in general. So we're gonna move to a video on level 5 next, and I'll see you guys there.